Welcome to this detailed voice summary of the desktop guide and sample scripts for navigating conflict. Developed by Cohort 1 Group 4, this comprehensive guide is designed as a practical and reflective tool for individuals and teams navigating conflict, particularly in professional or organizational environments. Our goal with this summary is to give you a clear and engaging understanding of the guide's principles, tools, and language. We begin by recognizing that conflict is a natural and unavoidable part of human interaction. Whether in the workplace, in community spaces, or in personal relationships, conflict can arise when people bring different perspectives, values, experiences, or needs to the table. The guide challenges the view of conflict as inherently negative. Instead, it frames conflict as an opportunity, a moment for deepened learning, greater equity, and stronger, more authentic relationships. To effectively engage with conflict, the guide outlines a 5-step model of conflict navigation. These steps are: prepare, initiate the conversation, share impact and listen, seek understanding and solutions, and agree on actions and follow up. Let's dive into each of these steps in detail. Step 1. Prepare. Preparation is the foundation for any successful conflict navigation. This means taking time to reflect on your emotions, your perceptions, your needs, and your desired outcomes before initiating any dialogue. The guide provides reflective prompts such as: what happened from my perspective? What emotions am I carrying? What assumptions might I be making about the other person's intent? What do I hope to achieve from this conversation? In this step, you're encouraged to shift from reacting impulsively to responding intentionally. Preparation also involves choosing a good time and setting for the conversation, ensuring privacy and mutual readiness. Step 2. Initiate the conversation. Initiating a conversation about conflict can be vulnerable. That's why the guide offers gentle, respectful language to begin. It suggests starting with a clear statement of intent and an invitation to talk. For example, I value our relationship, and there's something I'd like to talk through with you. Would now be a good time? This approach allows the other person to feel respected and in control, reducing defensiveness. It also sets the tone for a collaborative exchange rather than an attack. Step 3. Share impact and listen. This step is about expressing how the situation affected you and being fully present to hear the other person's experience. It's essential to use I statements to take responsibility for your feelings without blaming. For instance, I felt sidelined when I wasn't included in the decision-making process. This is different from saying, you ignored me, which is likely to provoke defensiveness. Once you've shared your impact, the guide encourages asking open-ended questions to invite the other person's perspective. Can you share how you saw the situation? Listening is just as important as speaking, perhaps even more so. The guide emphasizes listening without interruption, judgment, or premature conclusions. Step 4. Seek understanding and solutions. After sharing and listening, this step focuses on making sense of the conflict together. What's underneath the disagreement? What needs are not being met on either side? What values or goals are in tension? Once you have that understanding, the next step is co-creating solutions. This might involve clarifying roles, adjusting communication norms, or renegotiating expectations. The guide advises asking collaborative questions like, what would help you feel more supported going forward? Or, how can we approach this differently next time? This part of the process encourages mutual accountability, not blame. Step 5. Agree on actions and follow up. With solutions identified, the final step is to translate them into concrete agreements and a plan for follow-up. This ensures the conversation leads to meaningful change. The guide suggests naming specific commitments, assigning responsibilities, and agreeing on a check-in point. For example, let's revisit this in 2 weeks to see how it's going. Following up shows care, keeps momentum, and reinforces that conflict navigation is a continuous relational practice, not a one-time fix. The guide also includes a robust collection of sample scripts. These are real-world phrases and templates that people can adapt depending on their comfort level and communication style. For initiating a conversation, the script might say, I've been sitting with something and wanted to check in with you about it. Would now be okay? When expressing impact, I noticed that in yesterday's meeting, I was interrupted several times. I felt like my input wasn't valued, and it made me hesitant to speak up. To invite dialogue, I want to understand where you were coming from. Can you walk me through your experience? Another powerful script for seeking resolution might be, I think we both want to feel respected in our collaboration. What might support that for you? The guide doesn't expect people to follow scripts word for word. Rather, they are offered as scaffolding support to help people build the confidence and clarity to have difficult conversations. In addition to scripts, the guide offers tips for effective communication. These include avoiding accusatory language, staying grounded in the present moment, and taking breaks if emotions become overwhelming. One reminder says, stay curious, not judgmental. That mindset allows us to be open to new information rather than rigid in our assumptions. Power dynamics are also thoughtfully addressed. The guide reminds us that people's access to safety, authority, and influence varies based on identity, role, and lived experience. If you are in a position of power, such as a manager, facilitator, or elder, it's crucial to create conditions where others feel safe to speak truthfully. This might involve explicitly inviting feedback, acknowledging historical harms, or being the first to admit your own mistakes. The guide concludes with tools for self-reflection. These tools ask users to consider their default conflict styles. Do you tend to avoid conflict, become defensive, try to fix things too quickly? They also prompt us to identify our emotional triggers, such as feeling excluded, unappreciated, or misunderstood. The goal is to increase awareness of our own patterns so we can choose more skillful responses in the future. In summary, the desktop guide and sample scripts for navigating conflict is more than just a communication manual. It's an invitation to develop emotional intelligence, relational skills, and a culture of accountability. Through its 5-step model, prepare, initiate, share, understand, and follow up, it equips people to move through discomfort toward resolution. Its practical scripts and reflective tools make it highly usable, while its emphasis on equity and empathy gives it depth and integrity. By learning to approach conflict not as a threat but as a site of possibility, we open the door to more resilient, authentic, and inclusive relationships. Thank you for listening to this detailed summary. May these insights support your growth as a communicator, collaborator, and community member.